Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gospel Station Sports and Talk. This is Luke Young, live from our studio here in Oklahoma City. Back on my side of the office here, we're getting ready for the Tuttle High School Winter Recap. Now, we're going to go through football and basketball and all the different sports that Tuttle has been playing this year. If you were with us earlier this week, we had the Bethany High School Winter Recap where we went over all the Bronco sports. Now it's time to move a little bit further down south and do our Tuttle version of it as well, because as there has been all season long, there is plenty of stuff to talk about when it comes to the Tuttle Tigers. First and foremost, of course, their state championship that they raised the banner of this year, 2025. They're fourth in program history, fourth since 2000. They have a state championship in 01, 05, 18, and now 2025 with their recent win over the Elgin Owls. I was at that game and tell you that one, that one was a pretty fun one. We called that with some of the Tuttle TV guys themselves, and really we made a whole day out of it. It was one of the most fun football games I think I've ever gotten a chance to go out to. It had pretty much everything: offensive moments, defensive moments. It had kids coming back fighting against impossible odds. We had injuries that were dealt with, and literally some last-minute theatrics by the Tuttle offense, but for those that missed it, so the state championship was played back on December 13th. That was a 23-20 victory for the Tuttle Tigers against the Elgin Owls. They got revenge. They completed the 14-0 season. They snapped Elgin's own 27-game win streak. All the storylines that you could have possibly thought of, Tuttle took care of in that game, and I was super honored to be at it. Throughout the season, man, the Tuttle Tigers, obviously, you say 14-0. Obviously, they had a really good season, even if they hadn't had won the state championship. But for them, it really was state championship or bust. They started off the season with a 38-13 win over Guthrie, 35-7 over Newcastle, and 56-0 win against Noble, all in out-of-class games. Then you go on a 4-game, about a month, maybe a little bit over, of shutting out opponent after opponent after opponent, starting with, actually, I guess I could say, actually it started with Noble. It didn't even start with Ardmore. That Noble game was 56-0. Then they go to Ardmore 51-0. Then Medill 69-0. Then Bethany 69-0. Before Tecumseh finally put something up against them, although they still lost 70-6. Against Blanchard 49-7. Against Chickasha 56-0. Against Harris 62-8. Against Clinton 51-6. I mean, they ran through the competition this year. And you look at that, at least if you're an outsider looking in, you would look at that schedule and say, well, okay, well, they didn't really struggle with anybody. They were just that much better than anybody. They didn't even have anything go wrong. And while for most of the season you would be correct, it didn't seem like a lot really went wrong for the Tuttle Tigers, they did have their own difficulties to overcome. Not just the long bus rides for some of those, like the Medill game, but there are actually some key players who took injuries that they were able to fight back. Tyson Kennedy, starting linebacker, took a pretty big injury early on in the season that sidelined him for, I think it ended up being 10, maybe 11 out of the 14 games. He was out for a long time. Whit Comesher had an injury, had a real bad injury. I'm going to tell you about that here in a little bit, but he came back in the state championship. He was playing lights out. When I looked at this Tuttle squad, I didn't see just a good football team. I saw a band of brothers that were completely bought into what they were doing there. They had the talent, they had the coaching, they had the knowledge, and they were all in on the same. When you talk about locking in, buying in, they were all in on the same goal and the same method to get to it. And again, that comes with the obstacles. Let's talk about it. So Whit Comesher caught the game-winning pass from Cruz Campbell in the state championship. Put them up for the final time. There was only like 40 seconds left or something. 42 seconds left. There you go. And number 40, Whit Comesher, is a fullback. He's not a wide receiver. The guy isn't generally who you would think of as the main passing target in a high-powered Tuttle Tigers offense, but it was Comesher coming off of a foot injury that seals the game away. I'm reading from the Facebook account. I was at the game. Ooh, great Facebook account, by the way. I knew that Comesher was injured, but I did not know the extent of his injury until I read the report. So get this. He had a Jones fracture on his foot, which according to I was at the game, is especially difficult to deal with because of limited blood flow to the area of the foot. And I didn't realize this, but he compares it back to Kevin Durant in 2014-2015 because KD had that same injury. And he had to say back then it was a huge blow to the Thunder, but Comesher comes back. It says he was injured in the first round of the playoffs during the second quarter. But he comes back only a couple of weeks later. And in the biggest game of the year, on still not a completely healed foot, he's out there run blocking, pass blocking, leading the charge, and eventually gets out as a wide receiver to catch the 20-yard touchdown pass late in the game that, again, kind of sealed it for the Tigers. And that was just Comesher. Speaking on Tyson Kennedy, man, he'd been on a scooter all year long. He'd been rolling around on a scooter. You hadn't even seen him on the field for the majority of the year. But the moment he comes back and gets healthy in the playoffs, he is flying around the football field. He is in the backfield causing issues. He is getting tackles for losses. He is finding ways to impact the play. And really, I mean, especially on the high school level, man, how many guys can you expect that from at the high school level to not miss a beat coming back from injury, not being able really to work out that leg? You're not getting any game reps. You're probably not doing anything at practice. But Kennedy comes back, feels his hole perfectly, and doesn't miss a beat. It was very, very impressive stuff to see. And I think that heart that they played with ultimately was what led them past Elgin. Because you look at the Elgin Owls and the Tuttle Tigers, man, they're two great teams. They are evenly matched up in pretty much every statistic. Position for position, talent for talent, they're 50-50. They're going right at each other the whole time. But I think Tuttle wanted it a little bit more. I think the guys playing back from injury showed that they wanted it a little bit more. I think their expectations of state championship, of getting that revenge, led them to stay locked in the second half, led them to wanting it that little bit more. Because you got to remember, last year Elgin beat Tuttle 29-22, 7-point win for the Owls. That was one of the few times that the Owls had ever been able to get to the Tigers and came on the biggest stage. So counting the game we just played, Tuttle is up 16-2 all-time versus Elgin, but that one blemish is that state championship win that Elgin has over Tuttle. But this year the Tigers got back in to the state championship win column. Again, they picked up their fourth of their program. I believe that is third for head coach Brad Ballard, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have that stat right in front of me, unfortunately, but man, we could go on for 30 minutes alone on Tuttle Tigers football without mentioning a single other sport from this fall or this winter. Cruz Campbell, the Lanes, Sean Roosevelt Jr., Donnie Schluter, and Wick, and Tyson, and Jet McCoy, and everybody that took the field for this Tuttle Tigers team impressed one way or another week in and week out. A lot of them, I think, have very bright futures ahead of them, especially the skill players. I think they're going to have a lot of success at the college level, if I had to guess. So I'm excited to see how their careers play out, and you should be too. So this is the Tuttle Recap Show, where you just went over some of football. I know it's kept pretty quickly, but we're going to do 3 10-minute segments here, and next we're moving into basketball before we round out with some of the other sports happening around this time of year. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll be back after a commercial break, so don't go anywhere, by the way. Plenty of to talk about, including for our Bethany fans who might be watching this one, the Tuttle Tigers basketball upcoming matchup with Bethany High basketball, which could end up having some pretty big Class 4A implications. So it's not something you're going to want to miss, but we'll see you when we come back from break again. Congratulations to Tuttle Tigers football head coach Brad Ballard, all those players that gave everything week in and week out to make that happen. It was a storybook season, and it ended the only way it could have, right, with the Tuttle Tigers win in the state championship. We're hoping for the same level of success next year. We'll see what the lineup looks like. We'll see what the formations look like, but it will still be the Tuttle Tigers taking the field, and that's got me pretty confident for 2026. But we'll be back after break.
Relic Revival at 320 Elm Avenue in Yukon is Oklahoma's favorite antique store, offering an assortment of carefully selected treasures like neon clocks, signs, coins, clothes, furniture, and more. Located in the Old Mill Plaza, Relic Revival can be reached at 405-473-5125 and go to the website yukonvintagestore.com. Eric Brown at Relic Revival has collectibles, memorabilia, art pieces, and more. So remember to call Relic Revival 405-473-5125. There are no mundane items at Relic Revival, so stop by from 10 to 6 Tuesday to Friday and 10 to 3 on Saturday. Relic Revival is also on Facebook at Relic Revival OK, and if you stop by, you may meet your favorite naturalized Okie, Nigel Walsworth Higginbottom III. Relic Revival, 320 Elm Avenue in Yukon. Experience Napa know-how for yourself at Napa Auto Parts in Tuttle, 203 West Main Street. Open 8 to 6 Monday through Friday and 8 to 2 Saturdays. Napa is your local auto parts provider with trusted service, a variety of heavy-duty equipment, and an online shopping experience that will help you find exactly what you need. Call Napa at 405-381-6277. And remember Napa when you need tools, batteries, filters, custom fender flares and trim, accessories, and more. Napa Auto Parts in Tuttle, 203 West Main Street.
Ship It Sooner at 210 North Mustang Mall Terrace is your packaging and shipping headquarters for Mustang and the surrounding area, using all major carriers. Sign up now for your private mailbox and enjoy the benefits a post office box does not offer. Faxing, printing, copies, notary service, and passport photos. Ship It Sooner is locally owned and operated. Call 405-256-6264 or go to shipitsooner.com.
At FNBT, our community is our team. And with every transaction you make using your Team Spirit card, we're giving back to local schools for academics, sports, and everything in between. This year alone, you helped us donate more than $71,000. Let's make a bigger impact together. Get your Team Spirit card today.
I'm Jamie Ferguson, owner of Ferguson Roof Systems. My dad started this in 1977. I took over in 1992. Oklahoma weather is brutal on roofs. I mean, we got extreme heat to hail to the freezing cold. When a roofing company first make contact, unless your house is leaking, the very first thing you do not want to do is panic. Do an inspection on that company, make sure that they fit your bill. You don't have to fit theirs. And then just get some different people to come out and take a look and look at pictures. If you're not going to be able to get on the roof with them, look at pictures and identify the damage and why it's damaged and what it's going to cause to your roof. After a storm passes through, if you give us a call, we will come and inspect your house at absolutely no cost. We want to try to get there before you call an insurance company to make sure you even need to file a claim. Oftentimes you can get a slew of people that come through, possibly from out of state or possibly are unlicensed, and they can cause a panic, and all of a sudden you make a claim call and you don't need to make one, and it's just on your name. One of the problems you can run into with an out-of-state roofer or an unlicensed roofer is paying money up front or after the fact having a warranty issue and that company is no longer around or too far away to travel up to fix your problem. There's a lot of great companies out there, but there's also some ones that they were just sitting on their couch before the storm and decided to go out and start a business, and you can get your money removed from you pretty quick sometimes without getting the whole entire job done. That's our concern in this industry.
And we welcome you back here on the Tuttle Tigers recap show at the end of 2025. Fall semester is over. Winter semester is about halfway through. Well, I call semester. Fall season is over. Winter season is getting close to halfway through. We're getting ready to start 2026 in the spring semester. Thank you for joining us. We're recapping all the Tuttle Tigers high school athletics. We just got done with football in our first segment. State championship year for football, obviously. They had a pretty incredible run. They're not the only ones playing right now. Tuttle is well known to be an incredible wrestling school. They have state championships. I think it's 22 state championships in both wrestling dual and single wrestling, both men's and women's, I believe. So, including a one. Let's see here. You got to go back a long ways from 2009 on normal wrestling to 2025. They have won every state championship in a row from 09 to 25. And wrestling dual, you go back to 2010, and they have accomplished the same thing. 1 year later, they win everything in wrestling dual. Tuttle wrestling is the best in the state. I don't think there's any competition with that. That is a program unlike any you have ever seen before. And I have a cousin who's a big wrestler. I don't know how they do it. I never got into it personally, but watching those guys, watching those girls go out there and wrestle, man, that's a whole nother world. How you get good at that, no idea. How you escape anything in wrestling, no idea. Don't ask me. But if you do want to find out, go watch the Tuttle Tigers. But basketball also has one or two state championships themselves, mainly girls basketball state championships in 2021, which feels like a long time ago, but ultimately isn't that long ago, all things considered. They're coming back this year. We'll speak on women's first. Women's basketball is 3-5. They're ranked number 16 in Class A currently with 255 points as of the last rankings. They are 8 points removed from Bethany, and that makes it 11 points removed from Kingfisher, who's the other big district opponent in basketball. Their record, 45-30 win against Ada to open up the season, but they would drop a game to Chickasha by 10 points, 42-52 on December 6th. They got the win against Blanchard, 56-39, and then they ran into the Hera Panther Classic in Hera, Oklahoma, where they would lose to number 8 Hera. They would win against Heritage Hall, but they would drop a game to Bishop McGuinness in overtime, a heartbreaker at the end of the Hera Panther Classic. They met Kingfisher right after that. Talk about a tough turnaround. 11-point loss to Kingfisher before extending the losing streak into an unfortunate 3 with a loss against Bridge Creek. Now, I bring this up to kind of give you an idea of where this team is at. They come back in January against Elgin. But you're looking at 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 ranked teams, depending on the next one, matched up on this early part of the schedule. But Chickasha, no slouch. 10-point loss is not that bad. Kingfisher, Bethany lost to Kingfisher too. That was a rough game for us. Kingfisher is a very good school. Obviously, Hera ranked number 8 in the class. They win by 11 as well. I mean, it's a tough ask for anybody to go up against those opponents because, again, Lincoln Christian, Locust Grove, they've been 1-2 regardless. Douglas, Broken Bow, Kingfisher, and Hera are back-to-back 5-6 in the in the class right now. And Tuttle has already played both of them. Their next ranked matchup will be, tournament notwithstanding, Bethany on January 13th. That's a head-to-head you need to be looking out for. Bethany women's currently ranked number 8 in the class. You've got Lone Grove, Newcastle, Weatherford, Dale, Washington. All these schools are ranked. And Dale is number 1 in 2A, and Washington is number 1 in 3A. Tuttle has one of the most difficult schedules I have seen in basketball to this point. And it is no different on the men's side as well. And the men's, they're also 3-5 right now. They've taken losses to a ranked Ada team, a ranked Blanchard team, a ranked Shawnee. And they did get a win against John Marshall, who's number 16 in Class 4A in the Hare Tournament men's side, coupled with a win against Art Spencer. But they would come back with a loss against Kingfisher before knocking off Bridge Creek, number 14 in 4A, 77-70. Overall, Tuttle has not been ranked in the boys' rankings so far. Again, but that's because the men's squad, they've got a lot of good teams. So that's tough competition. Ada sits at number 10. We mentioned them. They're 6-2. Kingfisher's number 12. Bethany's number 13. Bridge Creek 6-2. They currently sit at number 14. But Ada is number. I already said Ada. Excuse me. Blanchard is number 7 currently. Blanchard got a vote for first place. That's the kind of team the Blanchard Lions have put together. And by the way, Bethany has them coming back in January. But Tuttle has already played these games. You look down their schedule again. But on the men's side as well, there's no lack of ranked opponents. Kiefer, ranked. Bethany, ranked. Newcastle, Chandler, Ardmore, Weatherford, all ranked all in a row. Blanchard again, ranked. Dale, 2A, number 1. Washington, 3A, number 16. Ranked, all the way up and down the schedule for this Tuttle Tigers team. Jet Jobe, head coach for the Tigers, I do not envy his job at all going up against some strong opponents like that. But the Tuttle Tigers are looking to make it happen. They do have the squad for it. I think they've kept these games fairly close. They just haven't been able to get them at the very end. They're led by a couple of seniors, and that is a big thing as well. Not very many seniors on the men's side. Logan Garrison, you're looking at, I think, only two more, Ty Hendon and Maddox Wilson, as the only seniors on the squad. They do have a fair number of juniors, but most of the experience is in those three. They're being asked to lead this team. A lot of these really good teams you see up there on that class rankings, on those schedules, are extremely senior heavy. Extremely senior heavy. I think Kingfisher started 4 seniors and 1 junior, and pretty much everybody they would sub in off the bench was a senior. So that shows you where that success comes. And for the women's, it's the same. Riley Odell, senior. Marissa Sandlin, senior. That's it. 2 seniors on that roster. Not a very big roster on either side, and missing that upperclassman presence, I guess, if you will. Missing those established leaders on the court who have been there before, who, thinking back to 2021, that the kind of player that had been to the state championship, maybe had even won it. It feels like they had kind of missed that set leadership this year. But that's not to say that they can't find it as we get on to the season, because, again, we're only a third of the way. We have 2/3 remaining of the schedule. 2 tournaments left for both squads. Many, many chances to prove themselves coming up. And again, the last ranking we had was on the 15th. It's been over a week now since we've had a new ranking. Anything could happen. Anything could change. And coming back for a new year, they're going to have a golden opportunity. Looking at that schedule again, on the 6th, it's Elgin. Then you have the Verdigris tournament that starts off with Kiefer for the men's. Wagoner is the women's first opponent in that tournament. They have Elgin too. Now, Elgin not ranked on both sides, but that's really, in my opinion, to get them prepared for that stretch of the season that sees Bethany, that sees Lone Grove, that sees Newcastle and Chandler and Ardmore and all those ranked opponents. That's your get back in action, get back in rhythm point of the season right there at the start of January. So I think Tuttle absolutely has the chance to make a run. Are they as stacked as some of the other teams we've seen? No, they're not. They do have talent, but they don't have the seniors that have clearly led other teams to massive success. That being said, though, as I've said, plenty of talent, plenty of time, plenty of chances to make a move. This is the Tuttle High School Recap Show here on the Gospel Station Sports and Talk. 2/3 of the way done now. We've got one final 10-minute segment remaining where we're going to talk about some other sports that have been happening around the semester. So stay tuned for that. We will be back right after this break.
The Tuttle Tag Agency at 303 West Main in Tuttle is a proud supporter of Tiger Sports. Friendly service, knowledgeable, and helpful. Conveniently located in downtown Tuttle. The Tuttle Tag Agency is your nearest office for the DMV practice test. The Tuttle Tag Agency open Monday through Saturday at 8 a.m. Call 405-381-2413. The Tuttle Tag Agency located at 303 West Main.
I'm Jody Tuttle. I live here in Oklahoma City, originally from Canada. I'm a real estate agent by trade. Oh gosh, what happened? The hailstorm happened. And really big hail. Immediately, I thought about my car because my sport utility parks outside, and I thought about our roof. My main concern was, is it puncturing big enough holes where we're going to get water through our attic? Is it cracking windows? What kind of damage is it doing out there? Oh my gosh, so I've never had to go through an experience like this, being a homeowner even back in Canada. Knowing that we partner with Jamie Ferguson Roof Systems, I knew immediately that we would be calling Jamie. The whole experience was very thorough. The concerns that I had were, we have 2 little small dogs. I'm like, okay, how long is this process gonna take? Because they have to stay inside. Or we take them out and be displaced. The loud noise inside the house. What about all my plants all around the house? Immediately, he addressed those concerns by saying we're going to cover them. We've got tarps and protected everything. I feel like we made the best choice, and I feel very confident in what's happening to our house right now. Some of the things that have impressed me has been all the communication throughout this whole process. Not really understanding the steps, and they were all easily explained. And everything just happened so quickly. So I would absolutely recommend Jamie Ferguson of Ferguson Roof Systems, absolutely, just for all his communication, the timeliness of how the whole process from beginning to end. And he let me pick out the shingles.
M&T Septic and Backhoe is your call for septic installation, pumping, and repair needs. M&T Septic and Backhoe has been installing septic systems for over 25 years. From home builders to homeowners, from old-fashioned septics to aerobic systems and lift stations, give M&T Septic and Backhoe a call at 405-387-9353. A call for all your septic systems, storm shelter, or utility needs, offering free estimates and willing to work with you on all projects. Call 405-387-9353. M&T Septic and Backhoe.
And we welcome you back here for the final segment on the Tuttle High School Recap Show. Thank you for tuning in. Luke Young with you in the studio here in Oklahoma City, kind of recapping all of the Tuttle Tigers high school athletics. And there's one big sport we hadn't talked about yet, and I saved them for last. If you want to talk about state championships, got to mention softball. Tuttle High School softball lost to Blanchard in the state championships. Again, they did defeat Tecumseh to get to the championship game, just couldn't get right past them. Right there, knocking on the door. Got so close, just couldn't overcome the eventual champions. And, man, we saw Blanchard for the Bethany series in the area, or I think it was Super Regionals actually at that point. That's a good squad. That was a very good squad, extremely well coached. But Tuttle was this year as well. So the Tuttle Tigers en route to that second place, 32-9 overall, 13-3 at home. 19-6 on the road. Again, they hadn't lost in the playoffs since the very last game of the season against Choctaw. They had won. Let's see, I'm going through all of them here. Let's see. They beat Chickasha. They beat Weatherford. They beat Fort Gibson and Tecumseh before eventually losing there to Blanchard at the very, very end. Whew. And Blanchard's a dang good team. Blanchard was a good team this year. Again, I talk about really well coached. They had some great pitching. They had some great hitting. That team they just always found a way, right? That's what you say, but they always found a way. Tuttle met Bethany back in August of 2021 at the Heart of Oklahoma tournament in Washington. 2-0 win for the Tigers on that one. Looking down, I don't believe we ever met them again. I know that was the one time those two teams met. But Tuttle does have, the wide variety of wins. Everything from 11-0 to, the 2-3, 4-3 wins of 1-run games to the 11-run games. They kind of did it all this year. And although they did fall exactly one game short, I would say Rebecca Cobb, Kenny Jackson, and Macy Mikado did a very good job with that squad this year. And I think they have a lot to be happy about, a lot to be proud of. So I mentioned wrestling, obviously. That is kind of besides football, the thing for Tuttle. Wrestling is extremely good. They've already got wins at Norman North, wins versus Blanchard. They're just coming off of a tournament. They come back with the Geary Invitational in January. They've still got meet and competition after meet and competition. Wrestling isn't done until February 26th themselves. So you have got plenty of time to go catch some good Tuttle Tigers wrestling. I was looking at the women's schedule right there. Let's look at the next. Oh, they're not keeping up with that one, unfortunately. I bet you I could pull it up here, though. Let's see. Wrestling. No, okay. So they weren't keeping track with it, unfortunately. But I can say, though, based on the news I have been hearing out of the Tuttle Tigers, they've got another top-tier wrestling squad. It was a 61-14 win at Norman North, a 52-21 win versus Blanchard. They placed first in the Mid-American Nationals. They placed seventh in the, looks like a tournament out of Illinois, Vorak tournament. I hadn't heard of that one before, but they're going to look back to their winning ways in Geary. And then you have Guthrie, El Reno, Blackwell before the Tuttle Invitational, the Greg Henning Invitational on January 16th. So if you are around the town, around the high school, and you want to catch some wrestling, maybe that invitational back home. But it looks like, based on their schedule, 3 home games in a row, and then the home tournament, and then Deer Creek after that. So they're going to be at home throughout the entire month of January. So again, plenty of time to go see them. And tell you, it's impressive stuff. It's very impressive stuff. Tuttle High School volleyball was also a very strong team again this year. They finished much more towards 500 than I think they would have liked, but they definitely saw some flashes of the team they could have been. 25-20 overall, 9-5 at home, but they struggled on the road, 16-15 on the road. Some of their losses were against state caliber teams like Bethany, like Community Christian, like North Rock Creek. You know, all the usuals when it comes to volleyball. Let's see, getting all the way down to the end of the season. Regional playoffs, they got an opening round win against Berry Hill before they lost to Victory Christian, which Victory Christian is a very good team as well. But this Tuttle Tigers team went on a 2-game win streak against Elgin and Pathways to end off their season. So I think they definitely got to end on the high note they were looking for. Just, man, volleyball this year was so stacked between some of those top teams. Bethany, Crossings, Community, stacked. It's hard to explain how good those top teams were, especially Community Christian, the eventual champions. They'll look to bounce back really in the 2026-2027. I don't anticipate the competition being any less stout, but maybe they'll do better because I think they're going to be okay with some of these other schools losing some of the seniors that run out of eligibility here, if I had to guess. The volleyball roster, real quick, I'll pull that up for you too. Oops, I've got it on the wrong year. Hold on one second. Here we go. So we mentioned that there was a lack of seniors on the basketball side. It's not quite so bad on volleyball. They had Ellie Pierce, Liz McElroy, Paisley Goss, all seniors, along with Clara Lingle, Avery Chastain, Grayson Buck as juniors. And the rest of their lineup were all sophomores. So when they come back, the majority of their lineup is going to be upperclassmen now. It is going to be juniors or better. So I think that does bode well for the volleyball team for the Tuttle Tigers moving forward. It's just a matter of getting it done on the court against other, again, really, really stacked teams throughout the season because there are some stacked teams. Last sport I'm going to mention right here, I think as we run out of time, is cross country. Cross country doesn't really keep track of their meets or their placements, unfortunately, but they have been running as well. They ended back in October. It's been a while since cross country has run anything, but I'm under the impression that they I am under the impression that they had a pretty good season as well. I wish I could have seen some results from them. I'll have to keep an eye out, find it out, later on when we do another Tuttle High School recap show and bring it up then. Looking ahead, baseball is coming up before too long, and if you know anything about me, I love me some baseball. Last year, Tuttle went 34-8. They were 19-1 at home, nearly undefeated at home, and 15-7 on the road. They ended up, get this, losing by 1 in the state championship against Blanchard. So the team that won the baseball state championship last year won the softball championship this year. Blanchard is a very, very good school on the diamond, if you couldn't tell. But even that year, man, Tuttle Tigers baseball was putting up some big wins. In the super regionals, they go back-to-back against Enola, 10-run wins. They go to Chickasha, take on Newcastle, 10-run win, 7-run win, before finally being taken down by Blanchard, and only by 1. That final was 9-8. So they will meet Bethany. We'll get a chance to see them back here or in Tuttle at some point in the upcoming season. And I'm looking forward to that one because, man, I tell you, I love baseball. And we're about to see some great baseball matches coming up in this next season. spring can't get here fast enough. That's what I think. March can't get here fast enough. Thank you for joining me here on the Tuttle Tigers Recap Show. It's been a fun one as we look ahead to 2026 in the resumation. Is that a word? The resuming of, I don't think that's a word, the resuming of the the winter semester. We want to thank you for tuning in here on the Gospel Station Sports and Talk. It's almost a holiday. You can tell everything's a little bit silly up here. It's fine. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks to all our sponsors, especially the ones that helped carry us through the football season: Ferguson Roof Systems, Farm Credit Western, everybody, M&T Septic, and literally everybody that we worked with. Taco Mayo, we couldn't do it without them. So thanks again. That'll be it from me. Stick around for some shows later on as we get through the new year. But for now, Merry Christmas.
Provision Home Care in Tuttle at 308 West Main Street is your Central Oklahoma home care provider, offering personalized, non-medical services tailored to each individual's needs. Locally owned and operated with over 45 years of combined experience, Provision Home Care believes that quality starts with trust, consistency, and compassion. Our caregivers are carefully screened, trained, and supported to ensure dependable and respectful care for every client. Provision Home Care offers up to 24-hour care services like mobility assistance, meal preparation, personal care, transportation services, and more. Call 405-240-9876 or go to provisionhome.care to learn more. Provision Home Care, your loved, our calling.
Step out of the big box stores and step into being a valued customer. Shopping local at Simar Sales and Service, your local lawnmower repair service located at 2623 OK37 in Tuttle. A Cub Cadet dealer with a bold design and quality cut. You'll see why they're a cut above the rest, featuring DeWalt, Cub mowers, trailers, and small engine repair. Simmer Sales and Service, where value is still invested in the customer. Call 405-266-2663. Go Tigers!
Farm Credit Western, Oklahoma, 4955 Farm Credit Drive in Tuttle, specializes in loans to farmers, ranchers, and farmland-related agricultural. Farm Credit Western, Oklahoma, is a cooperative institution offering rural home loans, offering loans on cattle, equipment, machinery, and financing on crops. Long-term fixed interest rates giving money back to their borrowers. For all your farm and ranch-related needs, impute in crops and call the people on your side. Farm Credit Western, Oklahoma, at 405-381-3000.
Safety for your finances is a necessity. Thieves work around the clock to try to get into your personal banking accounts. Here at the First National Bank and Trust Company, we offer Secure Lock. It is a mobile app that allows you to control how, when, and where your debit cards are used. Stay in control and stay secure. Download the app today. Experience peace of mind with Secure Lock from your First National Bank. Member FDIC. Go Tigers!
Retro Rebel Boutique and Events is the premier name in women's clothing. You are sure to find something you'll love in their wide selection of women's, children's, and baby clothes while browsing the store located at 1010 Garth Brooks Boulevard in Yukon, Suite 110. Go to their website, weareretrorebel.square.site, or call them at 405-492-1727. And with their ad in America's Neighborhood Values, you can find a coupon for 20% off any item. Retro Rebel Boutique and Events in Yukon, 1010 Garth Brooks Boulevard. Are you looking for fresh, delicious, made-from-scratch sandwiches from a locally owned business? Then look no further than the Tiger Shack in Tuttle, 151 East Main Street. Open 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday with catering and delivery services available through the holidays. The Tiger Shack in Tuttle is the best choice for everyone looking for that authentic homemade taste. Desserts include brownies and reindeer crunch, and they also serve soups and Tiger Shack taters. Tiger Shack uses the finest of Boar's Head meat and cheese. The Tiger Shack. Call 405-441-1152.